There you go. It really is a nice view. But trust me, it's like I lived in Rosebud for a while. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, there's ocean nearby. Just as much peace as sitting out at the Ryback Beach or on the beach at Dramana. It doesn't really matter. Queensland, or whatever, it's all the same. There's something really nice, peaceful about being beside the ocean. So everybody's sort of preparing for really different features, and how you play in this world, it comes back again to your perceptions of what's going on. And probably my biggest warning, based on what I know from life experience, many years in the corporate world, people from government, military, um, you know, I meet a lot of people in a course of 60 years. And you can see, if you really open your eyes, and it's hard for most because it's two members down, head down, arse up. You're worrying about survival. You're not the state of the planet. You're in some sort of trusting to that. But when Gen W woke up to the fact that they'd been lied to on a scale, the first part of that to wake up was the military. And I really do believe there is, in the terms of, let's call them white hats. Let's say people here to do God's work for justice and truth. And make no mistake, there is some evil motherfuckers on this planet, and they have no right to be here. Um, you've got to really open yourself up to some really harsh truths over the next few years. You're going to hear the term adrenochrome. You're going to hear a lot about things connected to Mr. Epstein. That's been slowly creeping into your Overton window, um, to how extensive this is, and who's involved, um, because it is well, it is shattering to your world and your perception of the world. And many of you got this. You're so in control of everything, and you've got everything in their box. And, you know, uh, until you've done a full lap, until you've done your first 60 years, you're doing nothing, and you got no control anyway. You chose to come here. It's a game. It's not real, so you can't hide yourself off from experience. That's the only way to gain experience points, which gives you the ability to move and grow in this game. You, you've got to grow. It's mandatory, because if you're not growing, you're staying. You stay still. You're going backwards because the world is changing. You know, and I think you'll find in this, as the military, I think it's nearly going to be. It might not perceive it, but there's really going to be a military style infrastructure. I think, um, uh, in how money is going to be distributed. And when I say rank, etc., I really believe that there'll be that shape of thing. I've heard tickles of a thing called Kingdom of Mana, where the world's broken into seven regions, and you can see that geopolitically starting to take shape. In many ways. I've seen things with Oceania. You know, again, let's put Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, um, and other parts of where that whole south. Let's have one power currency. Let's make the place sing and dance, man. You imagine if we took those territories. They can keep their autonomy, but passport, travel, currency, and I think you'll see. Yeah, and you're seeing it now with tariffs and what income tax will disappear. It was illegal anyway. In Australia, it was brought in for 2 years. So let me keep an eye on this clock. it was only bought in for 2 years. You know, tariffs is the way, and that's why they'll fight it black and blue. You know, everybody was wrong about how the US economy would go. All the famous, you know, forecasters and analysts, they're all fucking wrong. Because they're part of a system they're trying to defend, but the old rules don't apply. We're in a different vibration. The frequency of the actual plane is changing. The sweeping changes in the food pyramid that we've just seen, you know, finally, marijuana, a herb, a beautiful healing agent, is off category 1. It was never up there with fucking heroin and fentanyl or whatever. Again, you know, that's just the big wigs hiding shit from you. But you can see that changing. You know, that'll sweep through education. The next thing is to come is history and what they haven't told us, man. We've got to learn about mud floods, Tartaria, free electricity is coming, frequency healing. So my advice is to be really open, because, you know, especially the older you are, you know, it's going to rattle your cage. It really is. But have trust and faith that it's not the bad guys. You know, I think the good guys are actually in control, and I think they have been for a few years now. There's no way the whole big pharma, this pandemic, no way that would have been exposed to the degree it has if they were still in charge. You know, do you know how much money they've cut 72 vaccines from 11? That was 60 vaccinations per child at, I don't know, what are they charging the government? $100 a shot? You know, that's a lot of money that were automatic sales that they don't get anymore. You know, this is profound. They're going to ban those ads on television. The changes are here, and you've got to look. And I think over the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to be even faster. So anyway, I've got to go back. I've got to go back to Oz for a while and help look after me mum, 91. She's having a fine knock, and more than happy to brace the cold to spend a couple of winters with her. But I'm here for another 4 or 6 weeks. We'll keep chatting. I love you all. Peace.